All right, so get this. We're diving into AI doctors today.
AI doctors.
Well, not actual doctors, but AI that can think like them.
Oh,
So you sent me this research paper, HuatuoGPT-01, towards medical complex reasoning with LLMs. And
yeah,
it's pretty amazing stuff.
it is.
I mean, we're talking about large language models, LLMs,
Uh-huh.
that can actually reason through medical problems step by step.
Yeah, it's a really exciting area.
Okay, so before we get too far into it,
Yeah.
can you remind me, why isn't it enough for an AI to just have access to tons of medical information?
Right.
Why can't it just be like a walking, talking WebMD?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's kind of like the difference between memorizing a textbook and actually understanding how to apply that knowledge.
Okay.
You can imagine a student who aced their exams but froze when faced with a real patient.
Right.
They might know every fact about a disease, but they lack the critical thinking skills to actually connect the dots,
Yeah.
to weigh evidence and to arrive at a sound diagnosis or treatment plan.
So it's not enough to just know the facts.
Exactly.
You need to know how to think like a doctor.
You got it.
But how do you teach that to a machine?
Right. How do you teach reasoning to a machine? Well, that's a challenge that the researchers tackled.
Okay.
And their solution is pretty clever.
Okay.
What they did was they created what they call verifiable medical problems.
Verifiable medical problems.
Yeah, essentially, they took those challenging real-world medical exam questions,
Right.
the kind that really test a doctor's reasoning abilities,
Uh-huh.
and adapted them for the AI.
So instead of multiple choice answers,
Right.
the AI has to come up with the solution itself.
Exactly.
Walk through the problem.
Step by step.
Okay.
And then the researchers can compare the AI's thought process and its final answer
Right.
to a known correct solution.
It's like a built-in answer key,
Yeah,
but you're checking how it got there.
exactly. You want to analyze how it arrived at the conclusion.
That makes sense. Okay, so let's talk about the star of the show,
Okay.
this HuatuoGPT-01.
Right.
From what I gathered, this LLM uses a two-stage approach to learn this complex reasoning.
That's right.
So what's going on in that first stage?
So the first stage is all about practice.
Okay.
The AI is fed thousands of these verifiable medical problems.
Right.
And essentially learns by doing.
Okay.
But what's fascinating is as it learns, it develops what are called these search strategies.
Search strategy. So it's not literally Googling symptoms, right?
No, not quite.
Okay.
Think of it more like trying to solve a puzzle.
Okay.
You might start in one direction, you might hit a dead end, you backtrack, try a different approach, and you have that aha moment when things finally click.
Yeah.
Well, HuatuoGPT-01 does the same thing.
So it explores different paths.
It explores different paths, it verifies its conclusions, and it can even correct itself along the way.
Just like a human would.
Just like a human learning to think critically.
Stage 1 is like medical school for AI.
That-
Lots of practice, lots of trial and error.
Yep.
What happens in stage 2?
So once the AI has grasped the basics of reasoning,
Right.
it moves on to refining its skills through a process called reinforcement learning, or RL.
Reinforcement learning.
Reinforcement learning.
Yeah. RL, have you heard of that?
I have heard of it, but can you explain it in simple terms?
Sure. So essentially the AI continues to work through medical problems, but now it receives feedback on its performance.
Feedback.
So for every correct step in its reasoning, it gets a little reward.
Oh, okay.
And for mistakes, there's a sort of penalty.
Interesting.
Think of it like a coach giving feedback to an athlete,
Okay.
reinforcing good habits, correcting mistakes to improve the overall performance.
It's learning from its mistakes.
Exactly, just like we do.
So I'm guessing all this training leads to some pretty impressive results.
You're right. This two-stage approach helped HuatuoGPT-01 outperform other LLMs.
Really?
Even one specifically designed for medicine.
Wow. Okay, hold on. Before we get to those results,
Yeah.
I'm curious about something. Yeah.
Remember that medical verifier you mentioned earlier?
Oh, right.
What is its role in all this?
Yeah, the verifier is actually crucial
Okay.
to this whole process. It's actually another LLM,
Okay.
one that acts like a highly skilled medical expert.
Okay.
Think of it as the attending physician overseeing the AI resident's training.
So constantly checking the AI's work.
Yes.
Providing feedback.
Providing feedback and making sure it's on the right track.
It's like having a world-class medical consultant
Exactly.
available 24/7.
2004-7 to guide the AI's learning and ensure its reasoning is sound.
And what's remarkable is that the verifier itself achieves incredibly high accuracy.
That's right. Really high accuracy.
Wow, okay. Now I'm really eager to hear about those results.
Okay.
How well did HuatuoGPT-01 actually perform after all this training?
Well, it consistently outperformed other LLMs on a variety of medical benchmarks,
Okay.
showing a significant improvement in its ability to reason through those complex medical cases.
That's great.
But the results aren't the only exciting thing about this research.
Oh, there's more.
There's more. What's really exciting is that the researchers, they were able to apply this same approach to the Chinese medical domain.
So it's not just limited to English or Western medicine.
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
It suggests that, this method could be adapted to various medical contexts and, maybe even other fields beyond healthcare.
Okay, so my mind is officially blown.
Yeah.
I got to ask, what does it actually look like
Yeah.
when this AI is like thinking through a problem?
Right.
It feels so abstract.
Yeah, so the paper actually includes some examples of the AI's thought process.
Like really?
Yeah, let me see if I can pull one up here.
Okay.
Okay, so here's a case where the AI is working through
Uh-huh.
a patient presenting with worsening shortness of breath and fatigue.
Okay, so this is like getting a peek behind the curtain
Right,
of an AI doctor's brain.
of an AI doctor's brain.
Okay, let's hear it.
Okay, so first, the AI does what any good doctor would do. Okay.
It gathers information.
Gathers clues.
Right, so it looks at things like the patient's age, the specific symptoms, and the results of tests like an EKG and a chest x-ray.
Okay, so far so good.
Yeah.
Gathering clues like a detective.
Yeah.
What does it do with all that information?
Well, then it starts analyzing.
Okay.
So it looks at the chest x-ray, and it considers the potential causes of heart failure, and it weighs the different possibilities.
So what was its initial thought?
Okay, so its first hypothesis was alcohol-induced dilated cardiomyopathy.
Interesting. Yeah, but
I feel like there's a twist coming.
you're right. This is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
The AI actually starts to question its own conclusion. It's saying, hold on a minute, am I jumping to conclusions here?
The AI is having second thoughts.
It's having second thoughts.
This is wild.
I know, and then,
What happens next?
well, it goes back and it re-examines the evidence.
Okay.
And it starts looking for anything it might have missed. It considers other possible causes of dilated cardiomyopathy,
Okay.
like viral infections or genetic factors.
So it's like actively challenging its own assumptions.
That's right. It's not just following like a rigid set of rules.
Right.
It's really thinking critically and engaging in that self-reflection that's so crucial for good medical practice.
That sounds like a real doctor.
It does. And what's amazing is that it
Um.
eventually arrived at a completely different diagnosis.
Really?
Chronic supraventricular tachycardia-induced cardiomyopathy.
So it's like revised its initial assessment
Based on
a deeper analysis.
a deeper analysis, yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
It's a big step forward. And,
Yeah.
this is just one example.
Right.
The paper is filled with these little glimpses into the AI's reasoning process.
Okay, but let's be realistic here.
Yeah.
How far off are we from seeing AI like this actually being used in healthcare?
Right.
I mean, is this the future of medicine?
Yeah, well, it's definitely more than just a cool project. But it's important to remember that, this is still early stage technology.
Sure.
The researchers themselves emphasize that.
Uh-huh.
HuatuoGPT-01 is not ready to be used on real patients.
Right. Of course not.
Yeah, you don't want to rush into anything that could potentially put people at risk.
Absolutely.
But even with those caveats, it's hard not to be excited about the potential here.
Yeah.
We could be looking at a future where AI is assisting doctors
Right.
with diagnosis, helping personalize treatment plans,
Mhm.
and even playing a role in drug discovery.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
really feels like this tool could amplify what doctors can do.
Absolutely.
Give them more information so they can make even better decisions.
Yeah, give them more insights.
As we've been talking about all this, it's made me realize that
Yeah,
this could go way beyond medicine.
right.
Like, if we can teach AI to think like a doctor,
Uh-huh.
what other things could we teach it?
Yeah, that's a question that I think about a lot. Like, imagine AI that can help lawyers with, complex legal arguments
Right.
or assist engineers in designing safer structures.
Even like scientists
Yeah.
with new discovery.
Exactly, like in climate change or space exploration.
It feels like we're unlocking this whole new level
Yeah.
of problem-solving potential.
It's pretty remarkable.
It's exciting, but it's also kind of scary.
Yeah. You're right. With any powerful technology, I mean,
Wow.
it's really important to proceed thoughtfully
Yeah,
and make sure that it's being used ethically.
absolutely. But if we focus on the positive here,
Yeah.
it's pretty incredible what these researchers are doing.
It is.
Pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
Yeah, and I think it does feel like we're at a pivotal moment.
In the evolution of AI.
I agree. This is just the beginning of a very long and exciting journey.
Who knows what we'll be able to do in the future?
Yeah, it's going to be fun to see.
Well, I can't wait to see what happens next. This deep dive has been a real eye-opener.
Yeah, it has.
I bet you listener are feeling the same way.
Yeah.
It's incredible to think we're getting closer to a world where AI can partner with us.
Yeah.
To solve some of humanity's greatest challenges.
Absolutely. A future full of possibilities.
Yeah, I think we'll be having a lot more conversations about this.
Definitely, as AI keeps evolving.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Until next time, stay curious.